when it comes to this fight, him and Tio. Now listen, it's really I got questions, man, because even though Tio is not showing who he was against Lomachenko, right? That doesn't mean that guy isn't still there. I think he can still produce that guy, right? And if he does, he's going to pose a lot of problems for Shakur, right? So this fight can be a toss-up. It's in danger of being born if Shakur doesn't pursue the act.
That guy will put anybody to sleep outside the ring, not inside the ring, because that's like he's the most boring fighter in the history of boxing. And they can say whatever the fuck they want. They can hype him up and all that stuff, but I really feel bad for him because there's no way they could put him on pay-per-view. He can't sell a fight.
Everyone thinks they've already cracked Shakur Stevenson. You scroll the comments and it's always the same tired story. He's boring, he's a runner, or he's afraid to engage. The narrative says Shakur will glide around for 12 rounds, lull the crowd to sleep, and walk away with a safe decision. But what if everything we believe about how he handles a dangerous puncher like Teofimo Lopez is completely wrong? Andre Dirrell, a man who truly understands elite boxing, just sat down and turned the entire story upside down. He didn't talk about defense. He didn't talk about running. He exposed a blueprint that's actually terrifying for Teofimo Lopez, because it demands Shakur do the one thing nobody ever expects him to do. This isn't just about winning a belt. It's about a specific, almost animalistic switch Shakur has to flip to bully the bully.
That power is speed.
Right.
So, could it be a situation where people underestimate Shakur's puncher power?
Yeah. I think Shakur can punch. You know what I mean? I think he can punch. It's just like I said, speed is power. You know, not them guys, muscle-bound guys come in and they tell me, oh, he can punch and all that. Like I just got finished saying, like you just got finished saying, matter of fact. The punch that you don't see knocks him out. And they always say, man, I didn't see that punch coming. That's the one you worry about. I mean, then you got to look at this. Shakur, he got speed. He got speed. He a technician, man. He know what he doing, man. I can't take nothing away from Tio. Tio's a good fighter, too. You know what I mean? He's a good fighter. But I think Shakur is way above him.
Is this going to be the performance that shuts the haters up? Because everybody always talking about who Shakur didn't fight, didn't look good against or whatnot.
Yeah, but they always say he didn't fight nobody. That's like with Moose there. They were somebody before they fought him, and then once they beat him, or he was supposed to beat him, and all that. So I don't even talk to them people like that no more. I don't even talk. Oh wait, Moose was supposed to be. I ain't got nothing to say to y'all guys, man. Cause y'all double talk, man. You know what I mean? You say one thing and then you say another. You know what I mean? So I think that with Shakur, do what he's supposed to do.
To truly understand why this new game plan feels so shocking, we first have to pull back and look at the landscape of the division. Right now, Gervonta Tank Davis is the face of boxing for a lot of people. He's the guy with the viral knockouts, the superstardom, the spotlight, and the side A treatment. But Daryl points out something that many casual fans never notice. When you really watch Tank fight, he's not controlling every second of every round. In reality, he's often behind on the scorecards. Look at the Frank Martin fight. Martin was tagging him, winning rounds, and looking relaxed until Tank landed that one equalizer. Tank is dangerous because he can end everything in a single moment, but he is beatable on points if that shot never lands. And this is where Shakur Stevenson stands completely alone. According to Daryl, Shakur is actually the tougher puzzle to solve. It's not about one-punch power. It's about being almost impossible to beat over 12 rounds. You can be winning against Tank and still get caught. Against Shakur, you can't even touch him. His defensive discipline is so elite that it's nearly impossible to see a clear path to victory for anyone, including Teofimo. But being untouchable isn't enough to silence the critics. To become a legend, you have to do more than survive. You have to dominate. And that's where the real danger starts closing in on him.
To knockouts, Tank is the guy. But when it comes to winning fights, it's hard to see. If it's hard to see somebody losing, it's Shakur at this point. It's hard to see him taking a loss because he has the option to move. Now, Shakur needs to tailor how he moves. But move, continue to use your footwork. He's going to continue to use the footwork. And having the tutelage that he has And if Terrence Crawford really retired and he can just give his boxing knowledge alone without having to worry about his next fight to Shakur, then he gonna grow that much more, right? This along with Andre Ward and whatnot. So Shakur is still tailoring his game, right? And it's hard to see him losing, and you really ask yourself how he loses. When it comes to this fight, him and Tio, now listen, it's really, I got questions, man, because, even though Tio is not showing who he was against Lomachenko, right, that doesn't mean that guy isn't still there. I think he will still produce that guy, right? And if he does, he's going to pose a lot of problems for Shakur.
We have to be honest about Teofimo Lopez. He might be the most confusing fighter in the sport right now. Some nights he looks flat, disconnected, almost careless, struggling with opponents he should be running through with ease. And then there's the other version of Teofimo, the one who showed up against Vasily Lomachenko and Josh Taylor. That version feels terrifying. Daryl warns that we can't assume the weaker Teofimo will appear. The man who dethroned Lomachenko is still alive inside him, and if he unleashes that raw athleticism and explosive power in the ring, he suddenly becomes a very real, very dangerous problem.
The Lomachenko fight was a big one, to say the least. What was your mindset before and during that fight?
Well, I always knew I could beat him. I always knew it. Everyone else thought that it wasn't going to happen. I had just came off a great win against Richard Comey, who was the IBF lightweight world champion at the time. Won my first world title there at Madison Square Garden in the Mecca, where the New York Knicks play. Shout out to them. And then from that on, 23 came, and I was on my way to fight the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the whole world of boxing, Vasily Lomachenko. I was confident. I really was. I knew I could beat him. A guy like him that's so technical from every standpoint, footwork and all this, you gotta meet him. So it was a dance. Really, it was. And I'm grateful though, became undisputed. Then they disputed my undisputed. Same as like the Olympics, became Team USA's Olympic trials champion and disputed that one. It's just against all odds. It's been that way for me for quite some time.
Teo is unique because he can brawl, but he can also box. He's explosive. He counters sharply and he lives inside chaos. The biggest fear for boxing fans is that these two styles might neutralize each other. You have Shakur, the master of distance, and Teofimo, who can sometimes freeze when he can't find an opening. There's a very real danger of dead moments, long stretches where both men just stand there, locked in silence, waiting for one mistake. That's the nightmare scenario, a dull, tactical chess match that damages both of their legacies. But Daryl believes that won't happen, as long as Shakur sticks to the hidden plan. And trust me, this plan is the very last thing Teofimo wants to face.
Did Teofimo knock out Shakur? No. Can Teo adjust to the point where he beats Shakur? Yeah. You don't see how? Shakur hates slick and economic boxers. So does Teo. They both hate where each other are. Shakur looks great against volume punchers. De Los Santos sitting back and not being active, Shakur doesn't look good. That's when they say he's boring. The thing is, Teofimo Lopez is an excellent fighter. He beat Josh Taylor and Lomachenko. How did he beat Lomachenko? By being patient. Y'all sleeping on Teo. And it's at 140. Now the thing what's wrong with Teo is, Teo also looks good as a counter puncher when you are a volume puncher too. Another thing is, Teo looks very great when he's dialed in. He fights more athletic than Shakur. Shakur fights far more technically sound, and he's a more gifted fighter skill-wise. I'm leaning towards Shakur, but Teo can win.
Here is the key to the entire fight. Daryl's advice to Shakur sounds simple, but it's dangerous. Do not wait. Most boxers love fighting off the back foot. It feels comfortable. You sit back, let your opponent reach too far, and then you punish them for it. That's been Shakur's bread and butter for years, but in this fight, that approach gets thrown out the window. Daryl is calling for Shakur to chase the action. That means walking Teofimo down. It means claiming the center of the ring and forcing the fight straight into Teofimo's chest.
Shakur has to always be looking for ways to get close to him and execute. Keep that boy on his back foot, keep him guessing, and keeping the jab in his face to force action. Force action. So if I can't get you to come toward me, I'm going to get you to punch at least, because I'm always be in your face. So he needs to pursue the fight correctly, right, to keep the action going, make it an exciting fight, leading up to whoever wins.
Mm-hmm. Well, would you say that because many people have criticized Tio, saying that he can't cut off the ring and chase a boxer.
Right.
Would that be ill-advised for Shakur to, I guess, not fight in the style that gave Tio those problems? Because, you know, we've seen Tio, like you said, a great counterpuncher and fights well when, like a Josh Taylor's the pressure fighter.
Yeah.
But if Shakur decides to be a pressure fighter, would that be out of his element and would that be more dangerous? Or actually, is that something where maybe that's what Shakur, like, is that, I mean, I'm not saying, like you know what I mean?
Hey, like Andre Ward say, man, you got to have range, man. You got to have range, right? So you got to know what to do in every instance, right? Again, we need the action. We need the action to happen in this fight. We got two actionable fighters, man. One who's really good a boxer, a full boxer, and we got another one who can brawl and box, right? But if both are hesitant, it's gonna be a scary situation. So if anybody can pursue the action without having to worry about much happening, it's Shakur. So I ain't saying he gonna pursue the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? I think he gonna pursue the right way, but I think he needs to be really efficient in doing so. And then, you know, we'll see, again, an actionable fight. And then whatever happens at the end, happens at the end. But the most important thing is we see a great fight. So I don't see him having a problem pursuing that fight. And I want him to. I want Shakur to show that animalistic side to him, too. That I can fight, too. Because you can still box, essentially, while you're fighting.
Now, this doesn't mean charging blindly. We aren't talking about flailing desperate haymakers and hoping for luck. We're talking about pressure with care. Shakur needs to close the distance, keep a sharp jab landing right on Teofimo's face, and stay locked in the pocket. It feels strange for a defensive master, but it's pure brilliance. By forcing the tempo, Shakur robs Teofimo of precious moments to think. He pushes Teofimo to react, to panic, to throw shots he's not ready for. If Shakur hangs back, Teofimo finds comfort. If Shakur's breathing down his neck, in his space, Teofimo begins to falter. It's about making the takeover king feel like he's the one being conquered.
He seems, the more back against the wall it looks like, the more that he's an underdog, the better he performs. And this could be that kind of situation. New York is a tough place, man. They're already gibbering, going back and forth, saying, like, you know, he reps Brooklyn, but there's kind of questions about his Brooklyn roots. Can he really rep Brooklyn in the way that he says he can? So he's already getting that heat for that. I don't know. It might be a good thing to kind of to poke the bear in terms of how well Teofimo is going to show up.
Paulies, that's a huge. You're from Brooklyn. That's a big insult to say that you're not really from Brooklyn.
Insult him a little bit.
Insult him a little bit. Insult him, man.
But I'll tell you what. I don't. There's so many thoughts in my head with this situation because Teofimo is at his most dangerous when he's counted out, and this is going to be one of those fights where he's going to be counted out because Shakur is looked at by and large as the guy who can dominate boxing in this generation, right? It's just a matter of him getting the opportunity. I myself have felt that he's the guy who could and should be dominating boxing if he gets the right matchups. But bro, this is one of the rare matchups, if not maybe the only matchup, where I feel like is a big threat here to Shakur. And then they would all come undone because of this reason. Teofimo Lopez, we've seen him at his best, but he typically brings out his best characteristics when he's back against the wall and he's counted out. And he's going to be counted out in this fight. By and large, people are going to side with Shakur in this fight to win the fight because he's the more consistent fighter, he's the more class fighter overall, and he's just so damn good. But Teofimo has a way, when you're so damn good and he knows you're so damn good and everybody feels like you're gonna beat him, there's just something about Teofimo, man. He brings out a different level and somehow supersedes that guy who is that damn good. I've seen it. We've seen it already. I'm not saying anything that anybody else hasn't already seen, okay?
Let's dive into history to understand why this works. Daryl points to the perfect example. Floyd Mayweather versus Shane Mosley. Everyone recalls Floyd as the master of defense. But in that fight, after taking a hit early, Floyd didn't retreat. He advanced on Shane Mosley. He stood squarely in front of him, guard high, and dominated him. He shattered Shane's spirit simply by being there, relentless and aggressive. That's the raw, instinctive side Daryl wants Shakur to unleash.
When Floyd fought Shane Mosley, like where he pushed and all 12 rounds, he felt that Shane couldn't fight on his back, but as well, and can break him mentally a little bit. So maybe maybe Shakur thinks I could maybe bully him. I mean,
Yeah, and what this is the thing. Once a fighter catches this groove, once a boxer catches this groove, It's gonna be hard to time him, to catch his timing, to get away from shots. Right when a boxer hits a flow state, he starts to destroy. For instance, Floyd Mayweather or Toro Gotti. So whether Toro pressed the action, Floyd was lighting them up. Whether Floyd pressed the action, Floyd was lighting them up. It didn't matter in that turn. So if anybody has the opportunity to do that, it's Shakur, right? We want to get to that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to see from Shakur, man. I want to see him be able to execute moving forward, right? And the rest will take care.
There's a line between boxing and fighting. Shakur can box with his eyes shut, but can he fight? Can he force his will on another man and crush his spirit? If Shakur presses forward smartly, he breaks Teofimo mentally, sending a clear message, I'm not afraid of your power, and I'll dominate you up close. That's how a competitive fight turns into a massacre. We've seen glimpses when Shakur senses weakness, but against Teofimo, it has to be the plan from round one. You don't give a puncher a second to breathe. You crowd him, make him feel the ring shrinking with every step. The ultimate target is what athletes call the flow state, that zone where time slows and mistakes vanish. Daryl insists that once Shakur finds his rhythm moving forward, he becomes a nightmare. A defensive fighter moving back is tough to hit. But a defensive fighter charging at you? Terrifying. It makes the opponent feel powerless. Of course, not everyone agrees. Legends like Roy Jones Jr. warn that Teofimo's explosive power balances everything. If Shakur gets overconfident advancing, he could walk straight into disaster. That's the risk. That's why this fight captivates. Many stories float around that top fighters like Devin Haney or Tank Davis are avoiding Shakur. High risk, low reward. They know his skill, but the public still waits for proof. They want to see the dog in him. If Shakur pulls off this plan, walks down the division's most dangerous puncher, and makes it look effortless, all whispers of him being boring vanish. He doesn't just remain a skilled technician, he becomes a feared destroyer.
You already know Shakur Stevenson. You know what he bring into the ring. Defense first. Yep, defense first. You ain't getting nothing. I'm gonna get mine when I get mine and when I want to get mine, but you ain't getting nothing. So look, y'all might perceive this fight as being boring and this and that. This gonna be one hell of a technical battle that I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see this battle. Oh yeah. Yeah, because what y'all gonna witness is, I'm gonna tell you right now what you're gonna witness. You're gonna witness fundamentals, great fundamentals, versus that explosive stuff. You know what I'm saying? That explosive stuff. So like, let me give you a prime example. Not to this degree, but Tonio Tarver, Roy Jones. Tarver had them fundamentals down. Roy didn't. Had them fundamentals down. Now, I understand what happened. Now, yeah, look, if Teofimo Lopez, he get out of line and he want to run in there that fire and he get his behind caught, just like Norman Jr. got his behind caught, talking about, he can't punch. He can find himself picking himself off of the canvas too. Yeah, talking about Shakur can't punch. I don't see many guys just running in there on Shakur. But anyways, look, y'all already know what it is. Precision, timing, right? Hitting the dude when he don't see something coming. That's power. Or hitting the dude when he coming in. That's power. Yeah, that's power.
So, is this fight really up in the air? Maybe. If both men hesitate, we could end up with a controversial decision that leaves everyone frustrated. But Andre Dirrell has mapped out the path to greatness. It asks Shakur Stevenson to step beyond comfort and walk into the fire. It asks him to become the bully. If he does, he doesn't just win. He takes Teofimo's spirit and sends a warning through the entire lightweight division. The real question isn't Shakur's skill. We know he has that. The question is, does he have the heart to stay in the pocket and go after the takeover? We're about to see. What do you think? Can Shakur walk Teofimo down, or will he hang back and play it safe? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you never miss our next breakdowns. And don't forget, share your take in the comments. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.